Darling, it's time.
My name is Melissa Engleman. I have a new record out that's called Love. It's part of a trilogy of albums called Love, Death, and Mexico. And this first one you can find on melissaengleman.bandcamp.com. I'm going to record the other two. This first one I've been working on since before the pandemic. It was delayed by a world tragedy. And the studio I used was in Boston, so it was extra hard to just figure all that out, finishing it up. But just finished it up, and it was out. I officially put it out in February. I wanted it to come out during the month of Valentine's since it's called Love. I have this period of time where I was working pretty close to the border, and during that time I definitely had my heart broken, but I also, more importantly, really learned to love myself better. And then I lost a lot of people in that time. So that's where the name came from, is Love, Death, and Mexico. So the Love record they aren't necessarily love songs, but they are still about love, if that makes sense. There's a song that is kind of I always tell people it's a sad sounding ukulele pep talk song. And it's kind of a lullaby for grown-ups, to kind of be nicer to yourself and those kinds of things. And then I have a song one of the songs is called End the Quiet. And that one, I always tell people, is about getting other people's crappy voices out of your head. So death is going to be about, losing people and grieving. My stepdad was I lost a lot of people on both sides of my family, but my stepdad passing was the closest person to me that passed. And just the way that it affected my mom, and just the way that you grieve people, and you just grieve them forever. And I really like the saying about that grief is just love with nowhere to go, kind of. That's where those songs are coming from. And then Mexico I think I'm going to make the title of that album actually A Little Town Near Mexico, because it's not necessarily about Mexico, but it was more about just being in a small town and didn't really fit in there for a lot of reasons. And it was kind of a lonely time, but there are also just a lot of really beautiful things about that town that are going to find their way into the songs. Well, I've got this. I just finished a little tour to kind of support the record, and it's not on Spotify or Amazon. I'm just doing my best to disentangle myself from billionaires. Is what I'm trying to do, especially billionaires that are supporting things I don't believe in and using the money they make from me to support those things. So this is the album artwork for Love, and it's done by my friend John Madai. He did a bunch of different iterations of this artwork, and this is the one I chose for this album. I've also been making t-shirts and like totes and stuff at my house using heat transfers, and so they're all just like a little bit different because I'm actually hand pressing them at home. So this artwork is featuring this is Slewfoot Sue, so it's a cowgirl that's riding a catfish. She is the love interest of another fictional character called Pecos Bill. So her thing is that she rides a giant catfish down the river. And I talked a little bit before about this, but I'm going to do a whole interview with the artist about how we came up with all of this, because it's been about 5 years since we did it. And I think he just took, I told him, like, I have cowgirl imagery in my video. One of my songs, the song I played on here, mentions like being a fisherman. But I'll have some more detailed interview with the artist about this pretty soon. So I'm going to play Say Goodbye. And it's kind of about, I guess the easy way to say is like finding your worth, even if other people don't recognize it. I think that's maybe the easiest way to encapsulate that song. It's just a 2-chord song, and I wrote it in this weird kind of meditative state in I have an old Airstream. Yeah, it just came out that way.
Darling, it's time to say goodbye. Time to say goodbye, goodbye. Couldn't be a sweeter Sunday. I feel the echoes of your song. goodbye.